The Independent Corrupt Practices Commission has asked lawyers to contact the federal government for repatriation of over $279 million. The House of Representatives queried NNPC and contractors over $2.6 billion Ajaokuta Kaduna Kano gas pipeline projects. Governor Makinde of Oyo State reopens Sasa markets, lift curfew on business. Zamfara State foodstuff cattle dealers begin indefinite strike over highways multiple taxation. On the international scene, China executes finance chief Lai Xiaoming for taking bribe. On sports, Super Falcon click Turkish Women's Cup in style. Welcome to Svtv News. I am Musa Joy Unioza. The Independent Corrupt Practices Commission has replied to Barrister Bello Idris Galadi to contact the federal government directly on its request for the repatriation of the sum of over $279 million as money forfeited by former Zamfara State Governor Alhaji Abdulaziz Yari to the state government. The commission replied to Barrister Bello Idris Galadi that the money is not in its coffers but with the federal government, so he should forward his request as suggested. The commission, in replying, signed by Director Legal Services, Mr. Henry Emory, said that the forfeited money after careful consideration of the order of His Lordship, Mr. Justice Ijoma L. Ojukwu, told Bello Idris Galadi that the fund is in the federal government coffers. It could be recalled that on January 27, 2021, Galadi wrote an application to the ICPC requesting for the repatriation of the money to Zamfara State government. The Nigerian Islamic Human Rights Association and the Muslim Rights Concern has waded into the hijab imbroglio in Kwara State. Some public school teachers had recently forced female Muslim students to remove their hijab within the school premises, which generated controversy across the state, leading to the closure of 10 schools by the state government. In its own contribution to the debate, the Muslim Rights Concern have vowed to take all necessary constitutional measures to stop the oppression of innocent female Muslim pupils across Kwara State. This was contained in a public statement issued by the director of the Muslim Rights Advocacy Group, Professor Ishaq Akintola, on Tuesday, 23 February 2021. According to Murik, what is happening in Kwara State today regarding use of hijab in schools is exactly the manifestation of the 5 evils which Neville Chamberlain spoke out, namely brute force, bad faith, injustice, oppression, and persecution. Training and retraining of teachers has been described as the best instrument to provide more qualitative teaching and learning activities in modern schools. The Executive Chairman, Katsina State Universal Basic Education Board, Alhaji Lawa Buhari Daura, disclosed this while declaring open a 5-day training of SVtv and local government areas quality assurance officers, organized by the Universal Basic Education Commission in collaboration with SVtv, held at Education Resource Center, Katsina State. For more on the story, our Katsina State correspondent Suraju Danlami has more detail.
The executive chairman maintained that it was through this training efficient and effective evaluation of schools is attained to enhance outcomes and performance in the development of basic education sector. Alhaji Lawal Buhari Daura commended the untiring effort of Governor Aminu Bello Masari in repositioning the education sector in the state. He called on the participants to support and cooperate with the present administration to achieve the desired goals. In an address, the Executive Secretary, Universal Basic Education Commission, Dr. Hamid Boboy, stated that the Commission has approved the allocation of 2% from the matching grant of state for continuation of quality assurance in state, which had led to a new cycle of quality assurance activities, such as school resumptions, daily monitoring, follow-up and examination monitoring being conducted every section. The Executive Secretary, represented by the Zonal Director, Northwest, Alhaji Mustafa Abubakar, commended the Katsina SVtv for its effort in ensuring that its workforce was reformed and equipped with necessary skills and knowledge to enhance quality in the basic education sector. In his remarks, the Director of Quality Assurance, UBEC, Alhaji Mansur Idris, represented by the State Coordinator, UBEC, Hajia Maryam Audi Kankara, emphasized that with the increase of the fund in 2019, the Department of Quality Assurance has introduced e-quality assurance in line with global best practice to enhance productivity and efficiency in evaluation. He then assured that all hands must be on deck to ensure that all the needful are done in the right direction to bring about improvement in learners' achievement as well as effective schools management system. From Katsina, Surajat Allami Malamfashi, SVTV News.
House of Representatives has queried the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) over the alleged exclusion of Bablinks Resources Limited, a Nigerian firm in the construction contract of the Segment 2 of the Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline project. Acting on a petition by Local Contact Advocacy and Management Group, alleging that contractors in the consortium bid for the project had been changed by the authorities. The House Committee on Local Contact, which met with some contractors over the matter, said it was interested in the implementation of the local contact in the project. However, in a reaction, the Chief Operating Officer, Gas and Power, Yusuf Usman, who represented the Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Melekari, told the committee that Bablinks was not part of the deal, stating that the corporation only dealt with Bretex CPP. The NNPC said the Local Contact Act was factored in, stressing that there was strict compliance to the extant laws in the execution of the project. The Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Dr. Boboy Oyeyemi, has directed commanding officers across all formations of the Corps to commence immediate clampdown on rickety vehicles plying Nigeria's roads. The clampdown is an integral part of rigid effort of the Corps in the year 2021 to further reduce road traffic crashes across the country. The Corps Marshal's order was contained in a statement issued by Bizi Kazim, the Corps Public Education Officer, Federal Road Safety Corps, on Tuesday at the National Headquarters, Abuja. According to Kazim, the riot act to operators of rickety vehicles plying the nation's highway indicates that the zonal commanding officers and sector commanders have been given an express directive to commence a nationwide arrest, impoundment, and prosecution of owners or operators of such vehicles. The Registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, has given assurance that the board would rescue the dwindling condition of the colleges of education by readdressing the admission processes. Professor Oloyede gave the assurance at a 3-day stakeholder summit on repositioning the colleges of education for improved efficiency and effectiveness, therefore called for the cancellation of mathematics as requirement for candidates who seek admission for arts and humanity courses into colleges of education. He said the major issue and the problem is systematic because if an applicant is required to have mathematics and physics to study Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, and Arabic, it is a problem. The JAMB registrar also identified informal routes of admitting candidates into COEs as major challenge affecting the system, and therefore warned major actors to be sincere about the admission processes. Speaking on teaching profession, Professor Oloyede said a lot of steps have been taken towards the enhancement and called for genuine implementation of reward system that should be favorable to all teachers. Governor Simon Bakolalong of Plateau State has said that while he is not justifying anybody for carrying AK-47 rifles, investigations have shown that Fulani herdsmen are not the only people involved, as farmers are also carrying AK-47 rifles. This is as he gave reasons why he rejected the Rural Grazing Area Program from being implemented in Plateau State. The governor, however, said that in order to address the situation, deliberate effort must be put in place to curtail the influx of light arms while other ways such as the National Livestock Transformation Program must be embraced to take the people away from the old type of farming and then introduce them to the modern system. The governor, who stated this while speaking on Channel Svtv program Sunrise Daily in Jos on Tuesday, said the Ruga initiative was a strange concept that came after the National Economic Council thoroughly debated, scrutinized, and adopted the National Livestock Transformation Program as a very comprehensive and inclusive idea to tackle herder farmer clashes and other associated challenges. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State on Tuesday directed the immediate reopening of the crisis-torn Sasa Market in Akinyele local government area of the state. The governor also announced the lifting of the curfew imposed on the area in the wake of the violence that erupted in the market recently. Governor Makinde, after a meeting with representatives of Yoruba and Hausa communities who are stakeholders in the market, said that he has agreed to reopen the market, having been assured of sustained peace. The stakeholders were led to the meeting, which was held at the Western Hall Secretariat, Agodi, Ibadan, by the Bale Sasa, Amusa Alabi, and Sarikin Hausawa of Sasa, Malam Haruna Yasin. The governor stated that the market is being reopened so that the people can continue to make their ends meet, adding that due to the normalcy that has returned to the area, the government will put in place palliatives, while also ensuring that adequate security measures are in place to ensure people go about their normal businesses without threat. The Senate on Tuesday confirmed the nomination of the immediate past service chiefs as non-career ambassadors. This is coming despite criticisms in some quarters with regards to their appointment. They are former Chief of Army Staff Tukur Buratai, former Chief of Defense Staff Gabriel Olane Sakin, former Chief of Air Staff Abubakar Sadiq, and Chief of Naval Staff Ibok Ibas. President Buhari had on the 5th of February 2021 sent their names to the Senate to be confirmed as non-career ambassadors. Some Nigerians had condemned their nomination, noting that it was a plan to shield them from prosecution by the International Crime Court for alleged abuses committed by the Nigerian military under their watch. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back on business. The Amalgamated Union of Foodstuff and Cattle Dealers of Nigeria's Kwara State branch has concluded plan to embark on strike action over multiple taxes on federal highways. Addressing newsmen Tuesday evening in Gusau, the state chairman of the union, Alhaji Aminu Garba, maintained that the strike action would commence Wednesday by 12 midnight. The nationwide strike is slated to commence on Wednesday, 24th of February 2021 by 12 midnight as directed by the national body of the union. All members are expected to participate actively in the strike action. The chairman stressed that the Amalgamated Union of Foodstuff and Cattle Dealers of Nigeria had series of meetings at different places and resolved to defend the interests and right of members nationwide. And on the international scene, the former head of a Chinese state-owned asset management company was executed Friday on charges of taking bribes in an unusual severe penalty for a recent corruption case. Lai Xiaoming of China Harong Asset Management Company was among thousands of officials snared in a long-running anti-graft campaign led by President Xi Jinping. Others, including China's former insurance regulator, has been sentenced to prison. The government announced that Lai 58 was put to death by a court in Tianjin east of Beijing. The Second Intermediate People's Court of Tianjin ruled in January that death was justified because Lai took especially enormous bribes to make investment, offer construction contracts, help with promotions, and provide other favors. Still on the foreign scene, the United States Senate on Tuesday voted 78 to 20 to confirm Linda Greenfield as the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. By a vote of 78 to 20, the U.S. Senate has confirmed Linda Thomas Greenfield to become the next U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Linda Greenfield is expected to present her credentials to UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on Thursday. And on sports, Sufyan Abubakar has more detail.
Hello, welcome to the sports segment of Standard Voice Television News. I am Sufyan Abubakar, and as usual, I bring the sports updates. The West Africans' dream of winning their first invitational came true after Randy Waldrum's side crushed their continental rivals. Nigeria emerged as the first African side to claim the Turkish Women's Cup on their first ever appearance after humiliating Equatorial Guinea with 9-0 on Tuesday. The 9-time African Women's Cup of Nations champion winners opened their outing on a high with a 1-0 win over CSKA Moscow before edging Uzbekistan by the same scoreline to inch closer to the crown. Randy Waldrum made 3 changes to his side that faced Uzbekistan on Saturday, starting Charity Adule, Christy Ohieraku and Uchenna Kanu ahead of Halimatu Ayende, who scored the only goal in the match, Tochukwu Olehi and Francisca Odega of Atletico Madrid. Needing just a draw to seal the title, Super Falcons were seeking to end on a high as Uchenna Kanu set up Glory Ogbonna to open the scoreline with a long-range effort after just 9 minutes. The rest became history as the Super Falcons ended the game with 8 more goals as the scoreline ended 9-0 in favor of the Super Falcons. And that's all we have on sports today. Back to the newsroom.
That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. The Independent Corrupt Practices Commission has asked lawyers to contact the federal government for repatriation of over $279 million. The House of Representatives query NMPC and contractors over $2.6 billion Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline projects. Governor Makinde of Oyo State reopens Sasa Market, lifts curfew on business. Kwara State foodstuff cattle dealers begins indefinite strike over highways multiple taxation. On the international scene, China executes finance chief Lai Xiaoming for taking bribe. On sports, Super Falcons clinch Turkish Women's Cup in style. That's the news on behalf of the production crew and head of news and current affairs department, Alhaji Ibrahim Garabatunau. I still remain Musa Joy Onyoga. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.